First thing I'm going to do is attempt to get out some of what the chairman would not entertain as a point of inquiry about the need for Attorney General Garland to return to this committee. And here's what I want to add to what has already been stated. Well, let me recap a couple things. It is the last 24 hours since a whistleblower has brought forth an email from the counterterrorism division of the FBI talking about threat tagging incidents where these parents are protesting against school boards. If that does not shock everybody on this committee, you've been in Congress too long. And so here's the other thing. That document that had to come out from a whistleblower was sent on October 20, the day before Attorney General Garland testified before us. That document should have been in our hands when we asked Attorney General Garland questions, because on October 7, immediately seeing that October 4 memo from the Attorney General was breathtakingly problematic, I sent a letter and said, I want to see all correspondence within the Department of Justice connected with or relating to that October 4 memo. It should have been sent to my office the same time it was sent to the FBI. And believe me, there would have been questions to Attorney General Garland based on that. Not only is there a question about whether Attorney General Garland denied knowledge he must have had when he testified to this committee, but that memo was out. It was disturbing enough to an FBI agent to become a whistleblower. It should have been in the hands of Congress. This is a cover-up at the Department of Justice.
All right, I agree. I agree. That is Congressman Dan Bishop of North Carolina, who is talking about this this ever-breaking story, this new situation where a whistleblower has come forward within the FBI and has said, yes, it is true. In fact, parents are actively being tagged for being, get this, violent, totally appropriate. We're not seeing instances of that. Hostile and intimidating. Hostile and intimidating are not, they're not really criminal statutes. They're kind of subjective. And so again, by the FBI, this whistleblower, not only the criminal division, but the counterterrorism division is actively tagging parents who are believed to be a threat or who have been labeled a threat by local officials. Nancy, it doesn't stop. I thought it was over and it was horrific enough. On and on it goes.
Yeah, it's really horrific. I read the email that was released. It's really scary to think that counterterrorism, is going to track parents because they're complaining about public schools, which they have every right to do, mislabel parents. And then not only that, but the Attorney General lied about it, to Congress directly. And this is the type of immorality, and the type of lies and obstruction that we're seeing all the way through to the smallest forms to local school boards, where people are lying directly to parents, refusing to get them information. And here we see it at the highest levels with AG Garland in Congress. And I think, Bishop was incredibly articulate there. And the fact that more people aren't standing up and being upset in Congress by this, this is untenable. This is not okay at all. And it's unfortunate North Carolina has a role in this.
It is, yeah. Yeah, look, we have State Superintendent Catherine Truitt, which is the highest ranking education official in North Carolina, who is basically a foot soldier in AG Garland's witch hunt against parents. We'll go over the timeline again because I think it's really important tonight. But on the 28th of September, Truitt posts a letter, which is still now on the DPI website, posts a letter calling parents. I'm going to get it up here for you to see. There it is. Calling parents violent, saying that many parents are violent, not just one person. Okay. violent, and saying the increased hostility and threats of force we've seen across the state is not reflective of what we expect and ask of our own students. Well, it's not reflective of the truth, actually. And so here we have the highest ranking official for education in the state who has posted a defamatory post about parents everywhere, right? That is, it's not happening. And what's going to happen, Nancy, is there's a lot of candidates out there right now who want to get in the game, who want to run, who are parents who have been to these school board meetings, or maybe grandparents, and they are anti-CRT. They are, they're pro-transparency, they're anti-mask, what have you. And as soon as a teachers union candidate jumps into this race, what do you think the first thing that they're going to do is going to be?
They're going to point to Truitt and say even your elected Republican official was disappointed with the behavior of parents and found it threatening. I think she used the word aggressive in there, which resulted
intimidating.
Yep.
Hostile, intimidating.
Which, within the next couple of days resulted in a letter from the Attorney General. So we're justified in saying what we're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a real, we have called on her. We called on her and several other organizations, Moms for Liberty, several Moms for Liberty chapter, and another group, North Carolina for Citizens for Constitutional Rights, all called on Truitt to say, hey, put up or shut up, show us the evidence or remove your post. It's been, I think, going on 6 weeks. Then we have a new development, you guys. Superintendent Truitt has actually blocked a handful of moms from commenting on her page and blocked them from seeing her page, actually. That's not, if true, we're going to look into it. That's not appropriate to do. That's not allowed by law. You're not allowed as a public official to block people from seeing your posts, right? So here we have another example of Truitt being anti-parent, pro teachers union, and it's just shocking, really.
Yeah, I can attest. I was blocked. I didn't say anything threatening or harassing. I just was bringing up some counterpoints, like, why aren't you apologizing or retracting this letter? And very, I don't know, fairly even just benign. But I guess just having it out there so that other people could read my questions was enough for me to get blocked. And I know for a fact, and we have had successful legal action taken through No Left Turn, that officials who are government public officials, even if they're relaying any kind of public government communications through their social media account, that
even on their personal page
is a public forum, and you are due your First Amendment rights of free speech. I did email the communications director 2 days ago, I guess, asking to be reinstated, to be unblocked, and I've received nothing, a word, nothing back, no acknowledgement, zero in 48 hours. It's really sad. It's, but we're seeing that not even at the lower levels, like the parent level or the state level, but just like Dan Bishop spoke about, he asked for this information from AG Garland and the FBI, and no one's delivering it. And it's happening everywhere. Right. The stonewalling is going on everywhere. And in terms of, Catherine Truitt's letter and the timeline, which Sloan will get to, she wrote that letter talking about aggressive actions and violence on the part of parents without citations. And it wasn't really out of nowhere. I mean, we've been seeing this whole summer, the attack on parents, the misrepresentation of parents. For example, the parent in Loudoun County who wanted to go to the board meeting because his daughter had been raped and he wanted to speak about that, and they portrayed him as an agitator. So, and the timing, this came a week after, Truitt's letter came a week after Cooper spoke out in a press conference, and then a day before the NSBA letter, which has been retracted.
So let's go over that, because you're kind of
someone is telling her to do this.
Right. So let's go over it. Let's go over the schedule here. So, because this is very important, this schedule pretty much matches the news we've been getting about the collaboration with far left-wing group National School Board Association and with the Biden administration. Let me show you what's happening. So September 2nd, the North Carolina General Assembly, they voted to, they said, hey, if you want to put masks in your school, if you want to put masks in your school district, then you must have a monthly meeting and have your school board vote on it. That comes out September 2nd. Cooper signs it into law. Well, the backlash was immediate from the NCAE, the radical far left teachers union. And, they came down on Cooper and everyone involved. So September 14th, you've got behind closed doors now. Truitt tells the North Carolina Council of State meeting that she's going to issue a statement against parents. Now, mind you, and she's collaborating with Rory Cooper. So mind you, this is just days after 2 shootings in 1 week in schools. So she's not focusing on that. She's not writing a statement on that about school violence. No. She's writing a statement against parents without a shred of proof. That happened September 14th. They're talking about it, etc. September 17th, here's what happened. The North Carolina School Board Association actually writes a letter to the legislators saying, hey, this thing you've got where you got to vote every month on the masks, etc., it's not safe to do, right? It's not safe to allow parents to have their First Amendment right to have a say and a role in their child's education. So they write that letter. Then Cooper issues a statement on the 21st. He issues a public statement that, by the way, was pretty weak by comparison to Truitt. Truitt went all in. Cooper just said at a meeting of HHS in public, hey, we need to keep it down out there with the school board meetings. I'm paraphrasing. September 27th, the far left EdNC writes an article. And the article basically says, hey, there's some rowdy meetings out there, et cetera, not citing any specific proof because there is none. And then all of a sudden on September 28th, Truitt makes her public statement. So you can see the drip, 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 right? The North Carolina School Board Association, Cooper comes in, the far left EdNC, and then bam, Truitt makes her statement. Check this out. The day after, that's the day that we know that the National School Board meeting comes out. Now, this is important. Once Truitt makes her public statement, and it's there on the DPI for you guys to see, I'm going to throw up a website. The National School Board Association actually features Catherine Truitt's letter on their Twitter feed as if to legitimize what they're about to do. Go to this. We set up this page tonight. It's going to give you all this information, all the letters that I've put up. It's going to show you that. So what we have here is collusion, and we have a target, Nancy, painted on our backs and the backs of all the parents that have a right to be there. By the way, parents on both sides, parents who want the mask, parents who don't want the mask, right. Parents who want critical race theory, parents who don't want.
Parents who are advocating for their kids.
Period. Right? Mm-hmm. It's not political. Yeah. This is the First Amendment right. This is standing with parents.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very scary. And, I know after the Biden DOJ stuff came out, Truitt kind of made some statement about how she didn't think the FBI needed to be involved. She never retracted her original statement. She never apologized for her original statement. She just said the FBI doesn't need to be involved and you're killing flies with a hammer. So she inadvertently called parents flies. So what's scary about that is they're throwing subjectively, especially in her original letter, throwing around subjectively these terms, violence, harassment.
Dangerous rhetoric, very dangerous rhetoric, Nancy. Given that
those words are not to be thrown around lightly, especially in today's climate, and especially when for example, the Biden office set up a special committee in the spring called the Counter-Extremism Working Group. It was set up under the Pentagon and the Department of Defense. The Counter-Extremism Working Group was made to inform the Department of Defense about domestic terrorism. So on that committee is the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is a far left discredited progressive group that subjectively identifies people as hate mongers.
Let me give a few examples. Hold on a second. So
Yeah.
the SPLC, we're going to use that vernacular. They're going to call Dinesh D'Souza. I'm going to give you a few examples. Okay, Dinesh D'Souza, a hateful bigot. They've actually called several Muslims who are advocating for reform. They've called them extremists. Let me tell you about that. They got their asses sued off actually from one of them and settled because a Muslim wanted to, to err on the side of modernity. He was called an extremist. Let's see, anyone you can think of, we're definitely extremists. And so we've got even them on tape, Nancy's going to tell you, saying that anyone that's a mainstream middle American person, politically right or left or whatever, if they're mainstream and not advocating for, let's see, LGBTQ all the time and critical race theory, then they are what, Nancy?
They're extremists. So yes, so the SPLC is informing the Department of Defense and probably the FBI on who's an extremist in our country. And this is very local, and this is happening here in North Carolina. The Orange County School Board had a community affairs meeting in the beginning of November, Orange County being Hillsborough area. They invited 3 far left radicals to speak at this community affairs meeting. 2 of them had made national or international headlines. The one I'm mentioning today basically works for the SPLC and the ADL, a professor at Elon University named Dr. Megan Squires. She's a data analyst and IT person or computer science person who basically spends her time researching far-right extremist groups in the United States, doxes them and reports them to the SPLC in their infamous hate map, which isn't accurate. And she's also been publicized by Wired magazine as having lifetime's worth of experience in activism since the age of 15. She's been a member of communist activist groups here in North Carolina. And she is a friend of Antifa and condones their violence and sends her lists to Antifa activists to presumably harass or dox these people. So these are the people indirectly informing the FBI, indirectly informing the Department of Defense and AG Garland and all of these people about assertive, aggressive parents. And this is basically why this is so serious is Truitt's letter is basically giving permission for these subjective left-wing extremists to dox and harass and name
all of us
as domestic terror threats. So in her speech to this community affairs meeting, she was asked something about what about mainstream ideas.
Hold on 1 second. So let's get to the she, because we're jumping around. And so, so what we're also telling you is that, this Truitt's letter has already been used as the pretext in Orange County in particular, all right, to not have meetings in person anymore. So Truitt's letter is already having a deleterious effect on parental rights and First Amendment protections. So the she, Nancy, we're going to talk about just for a second here. That what we've told you is that there is a group called SPLC, and they are advising not only the FBI over here, okay, but also school boards, right? So the she is the SPL person, right, who advised Megan has advised not only Orange County, but other counties. So so not only is Catherine Truitt right now on the website that we the people own, putting up lies about parents, we've got this consultant coming in, right, Nancy?
Yep, consultants who are friends of Antifa, who openly publicly say they dox people to Antifa or give them lists for their right-wing extremism. And, maybe a couple groups, okay, yeah, maybe they really are racist, but it's so subjective. And who is this person to decide? And what is violence and what is rhetoric? There's so many gray areas here. So she could be potentially ruining people's lives, giving lists to, some potentially mentally disturbed individuals with violent tendencies to go harass other people. And she's okay with that. In this Wired article, she said she, doesn't condemn their tactics, including violence.
Right.
And
I mean, wow.
Orange County wanted to talk to the board and talk to the Board of County Commissioners to advise them on community affairs.
Right.
So the SPLC, so these radical leftist groups are not just advising the FBI and the DOJ and the DOD regarding parents and schools. They're also advising the school boards. Yes, Megan Squires at Elon University, correct. And so, I mean, they're here. Like, this is happening now, and this is why we are so focused on Truitt retracting and apologizing her letter. And I want her to go even farther. I want her to say who put her up to it. Why did she do this? And why did she think she could do this without citing any specific evidence?
Right. So,
dangerous rhetoric.
Okay, yes, very dangerous rhetoric on her part. I mean, given what happened in Virginia, you know, any lawmaker is saying, hey, wow, the parents cannot be ignored, right? I mean, and it's full steam ahead. And it is for parents who want a better education for their kids and who want transparency, right, and protection of parental rights. She's going the other way. So, we just got asked a question: can we have a class action lawsuit? We're looking into our legal options right now. We really don't have a lot more options. This is when you look at these things, violence. That's a defamatory statement. When you're accusing a wide swath of people with crimes, it's defamation. So that might be something. I'm not a lawyer. And then hostility, etc. I mean, look, let's go into this. I want to go into this for a second. Let's say, you know, with apologies, I think the time to apologize is over. And so we're going to have a call to action in just a second here. But what we really need to do, you guys, is to get the word out that she's done this. We met with a lot of legislators that did not know that she did this. I want everybody to hit this website up right now. It's going to give you all these facts. We need to let them know, let everybody know. But we're going to ask you guys to hit up every, on both sides of the aisle, every state rep that you have, every state senator, every federal senator, every school board member. We need you to do two things. First of all, we need you to get them to write Truitt a letter that says, take this down off the government website. And then we needed them to follow up and make a public statement that they condemn her for putting it up there the first place. This is about parents having the right to show up to advocate for their child. Catherine Truitt is trying to shame us, scare us, and target us into not doing that. It's not going to stand. We cannot let it stand.
Yeah, and it's scary she hasn't retracted it now with all this evidence coming out, you know, with
everybody's apologized but her. You've got the National School Board Association. You've got the North Carolina School Board Association. Everyone has apologized but Catherine Truitt. Everyone has removed their statement but Catherine Truitt. And we want to know why.
Yeah. And her comment on Twitter about, you know, she didn't mean to get the FBI involved or whatever. That's not an apology. That's not a retraction. That's, you know, that's like panic or something, but it's not enough. And she, at this point, needs to accept responsibility for this and start talking to the public about what the hell is going on. Who is she talking to?
What she has I want you guys to know that what she has done is in fact, I think it was last Thursday or something, she put up on her Twitter feed or something that, yay, the North Carolina School Board Association just withdrew from the National School Board Association, without even addressing that her letter, her defamatory letter, is still posted on the government website. Right. And so naturally, parents came in, they're like, what the hell? And I believe I've heard that she has deleted all those comments and blocked them. I'm sorry, you don't get to do that.
Yeah, no, I didn't even use the word hell.
Well, I do. So we need everybody, look, we're going to offer a prize. Everybody that we want everybody to participate, and the top 3 people are going to get t-shirts. Okay. The first 3 people that give us a statement that their rep has made, or their school board member has made, or their county commissioner has made.
Yeah. County commissioners.
We need these 2 things done. We need them to write a letter to Catherine Truitt to demand that she remove the anti-parent, anti-free speech statement from DPI's website. Then we need those same officials to publicly condemn that she wrote the letter in the first place. This is, yeah, we do need, you're right. We deserve transparency. You're not going to get it out of the DPI. You're not going to get it. I mean, we've got just copious amounts of corruption going on at the DPI. A lot of people lining their pockets and stealing from really the future of kids. This is another one. This is Jamie Falconberry, who is married to an education lobbyist. That's not so bad, right? If you're honest about what's going on. She reps a few controversial clients. One, and this is Director of Government Affairs, so I believe he's the guy who's answering the Twitter feed and is doing the public things. He just last week to lawmakers called us extremists. This guy called us an extremist group. He is married to a lobbyist who is repping products that contain elements of critical race theory. And also she reps these in-school psychiatric clinics that rely on SEL, that rely on the surveys. These guys are making money and profiting. Catherine Truitt's letting them make tons of money off of the public dime. This is insanity. But we're the extremists.
Yeah, it's really upsetting because a few months ago during the summer, I can't remember the exact date, Jamie Falconberry, on behalf of Catherine Truitt, when we started asking questions of their office, released a scathing letter, and it was actually kind of poorly written, but publicly, which was published, by the social media of certain representatives, including Republican ones, that labeled saying he personally knew the people of this group and we were a fringe group and we're out to just make money. I don't know.
Look who's trying to make money. The guy who's married to a lobbyist, and he is a lobbyist himself for the DPI, asking for copious amount of state taxpayer dollars to fund his wife's clients and not being transparent about it.
Yeah. And it was highly insulting to me personally because, I've experienced this lack of transparency and watched a school be destroyed that I was sentimentally attached to. This happened to my own kids. It was very scary for me to see the corruption going on, to see the people on the board and who they were affiliated with, and see what they were willing to do to first and second graders. This was a personal thing for me, not even necessarily political, but just, can we get our kids to be smart and not worried about all this political stuff? So to say that I'm out in this for the money when I've, this has all been voluntary, and to say that we're extremists when I was a parent who was affected by this myself was, on the personal level, very frustrating. And this is what parents are getting and what many of you in the audience are getting across the country. And this is why they're frustrated. And what's the response? Oh, a letter. Well, if you complain to the NCDPI, Catherine Truitt says, no, go to your local school board. Ignore what's on our website. I'm not responsible for it. Go to your local school board. Go to your local school board. The Orange County one just ignores us at this point.
Go to your local school board, and then I'm going to write a letter. Like shaming your ass doing it. Let me tell you something. I mean, the DPI does not want anyone looking at them. Why? They're operating in a manner that's unconstitutional, period, full stop. And that'll be the state school board as well. And they are violating the rights of teachers. They're damn sure trying to violate the rights of parents. We're not going to let it happen. And children. And lots of people like Jamie Falconberry are making tons of cash. And she just gave everybody a raise. I mean, this is... we're not going to allow this to happen. This is our DPI. This is not hers. This is not his. This belongs to the people. That's why we're going to need your help. And I mean, immediately. So those of you that do have big Telegram channels, big platforms, I know there's a lot of you out there. I've seen a couple of your handles. You got to help us. And I'm serious. We got like a week to do this. And I'm talking about, we need to secure the safety of every parent out here doing the right thing and advocating for their children. We're actually doing the work to make the public schools a better place. The DPI is doing nothing, and they're profiting too. We need a letter We need every North Carolina elected official. I don't care if they're a dog catcher. I don't know if they elect them anymore. We need your mayor. You take it on up. You sit there right now on an index card like this and write all of your elected officials, town council, whoever, that parents have rights. They do not deserve to be intimidated without any shred of evidence. Take that stuff down now. Then we would like those officials, whether it's on their Twitter feed, on their Facebook page. I mean, a letter to you would be great. We need these officials to publicly condemn Catherine Truitt, the highest elected official in this state for education. They need to make it known that she has no business posting that letter. I want you to share this, by the way. There's not as many people on tonight, so you're going to have to share it instead of with 10, with 20 people, but we need you to get it done.
Mm-hmm. Even if you're in a different state, I know people are moving from place to place and these days, but it's also happening in other states as well, or something similar will happen. And you have to understand how close these the real radical extremists are to both the FBI and your local school boards.
Well,
they're here and they're reporting on it.
Yeah. I mean, look, she won't listen to parents. She will not listen to parents. So we need to appeal to a higher authority. I need every single person in elected office. Democrats don't like this. Republicans don't like this. Independents don't like this. Discovery. We would like to, we've been talking to lawyers today. I think, defamatory statements has come up with some law. I don't know the law. We want as many parents as possible to be a part of this, lawsuit. And so just comment. So we're on Telegram, Education First Alliance. Education First Alliance is our Telegram. We have maybe a couple thousand people. Please join. Email the legislators and the state North Carolina GOP chairman. The party that Truitt is in happens to be the GOP, so that makes sense. But I have to tell you, we talked to a couple people. Representative John Torbett, he chairs the education committee. He is absolutely floored that Truitt wrote that letter. Does not like it. He stands with the parents. Mm-hmm. We've got Senator Bob Steinberg, floored. He's firmly against Catherine Truitt. He has signed our statement that says I stand with the parents. Senator Carl Ford, he's another one. Cannot believe her statement. Look, most of your reps have not read this statement. Yeah, you've got to put this in front of everyone. I'm telling you, you need to make an hour to do this, to write all of your friends, to write everyone to do this. I'm going to put this up again. Here's the website where I've got everything on there. I've got her letter, our letter to her, timeline, all of that. So you've got your facts there. You've got to have the facts. Mm-hmm. Got to have the facts. It's right up there on the website. So again, anyone running for office to make a change, the opponent is going to point up and say, hey, the top education official in the state has called you, because you've been going to these meetings, a violent threat. And they'll do it.
Yeah, and we have the moral high ground too. I mean, to throw that rhetoric around in what's been going on this summer and for the past year with parents and school board meetings, to just throw out there the rhetoric that's in the letter without any specific citations of any specific instances is not just irresponsible, it's immoral. You can't
because
do
she
that.
knows. Yes, she hired, Catherine Truitt hired a woman named Julie Pittman, who we criticized because Julie Pittman had all over her Twitter feed support for Black Lives Matter during these protests when people were having their businesses torn down. Mm-hmm. She hired someone who was supportive of legitimate violence. Mm-hmm. And yet when parents are peacefully, I'm not even going to say protesting, a lot of people are just going to these meetings as a factotum just to record what's going on, as is our right to do.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of it too, I mean, some of these school board members, there are plenty of good ones, but some of them who have these more radical ideologies, they take a question that you ask them and they'll say that that's harassment. Like you say, why do you have these pornographic books in school? And they'll think that's harassment. I mean, there are definitions of, I've been called racist by a school board member because,
naturally,
you know, they drop these terms and they say harassment and you're threatening me. I don't know. Did Truitt have any kind of committee even investigating some of what these, you know, threats were, or how grounded they were, or anything? I mean, was there any type of actual research into what was going on to find the facts? No, she didn't cite a thing.
She doesn't. She's not interested in parents. She's not interested in parents at all. And in fact, I'll just let you know that we have another mom in our group that sought to have a Zoom call with Catherine Truitt. Catherine said that she would explain this situation. And once they found out Nancy and I would be on the call, they said they will not be on the call, that we're an extremist group.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So, yeah, we've got radical professors going gangbusters. Yeah, I mean, Tim, all right. So, yeah, I think Tim Moore, and I think Phil Berger is going to be real pissed, because this is definitely not something that he supports. He's been a big proponent of, you know, parents, let the parents' voice. And to his credit, and to Tim Moore's credit, they both listened. They listened to the parents. They got a very strongly worded anti-CRT bill.
Yeah, they did.
We salute them. This is not in keeping with them. We've talked to Senator Don Davis, who is actually on the other side of the aisle in Pitt County. He believes in the power of parents to speak up, even if they're telling you something that you're not going to agree with. These are our children. These are our schools. But I'm going to shift gears here, and I want to talk about another story that we just published yesterday that really, it's got legs. A lot of people are upset about it. It may be related, may not. But this is the second richest dude in North Carolina. And as is the case with so many rich guys, they think they can control everything with money. So this guy donates to both sides of the aisle, but he's donated to our concern, he's donating to anti-critical race theory candidates, and lots of money. But by the same token, he's donating to Joe Biden, who wants to push critical race theory from the top down. He's donated to Stacey Abrams, Raphael Warnock. This guy, Jim Goodnight, a big donor to Phil Berger's party, he just started, this is horrific, a professorship for critical race theory professor at the School of Education at NC State. In other words, he wants to inculcate the teachers to make sure, right, that we have critical race theory in this state forever. This guy has multi-million-dollar contracts with the DPI, and he is an enormous donor to Catherine Truitt. Both him and his wife maxed out at $5,400. She's always touting SAS stuff and etc. Could he be behind it? I don't know. Could he be the moving spirit behind this letter?
Could be.
We don't know. I mean, we don't know if it's based in fact. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. But that was a big story. And Nancy, the reason it's a big story is because people are sick and tired of people like Zuckerberg and Gates and all of these tech giants controlling us with an algorithm, which is what social emotional learning and Panorama is. But they're sick and tired of rich guys coming in and not caring about us, the people. We don't vote for Jim Goodnight.
No. And it's, again, morality here, funding both sides of the aisle, not just like centrists on both sides of the aisle, but totally opposing people. Like, so if you're not donating in terms of your ideology or who you think is going to be the best representative, then it's some type of political game, right? So this is dishonest. It's immoral. I think the Republicans should not accept funds from him until, they figure out what's going on or demand some kind of transparency.
not only Republicans, any candidate on either side of the aisle,
Yeah, any
this
candidate.
anti-critical race theory, right? And I think there are going to be a lot more, no matter what your party. We want to mention that. There's going to be a lot of candidates who oppose critical race theory, a lot of common sense candidates who want the nonsense gone, and anyone who opposes critical race theory shouldn't take a damn dime from Jim Goodnight.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm tired too of all of these people inserting their ideologies under philanthropy. It's not true philanthropy if you're forcing this stuff on people. And I was shocked to hear it. And I wonder how many bills that were passed or not passed were influenced, on the conservative end, were influenced by this guy's donations.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. As we speak, we are looking over that. As we speak, we'll be reporting on that next week. This week was part one of a 3-part series. And what we're not doing, and we're not going to do, is accuse any politician of being bought. We have no proof. We don't know what's in someone's heart, etc. We can just point, here's the money where it came in. Here are the bills. Here's what didn't make it onto the Senate floor. We know damn well there are a couple of strong education bills. We saw them ourselves. Remember when we went to visit with John Torbett? So we saw some bills that I don't know that they made it up or not to the Senate. So we'll be looking, but we must not allow corruption. We must not allow lobbyists in the DPI. We must not allow money to change the way our elected officials behave.
Yeah, it's really sad what's going on, and we just need to be hyper vigilant with every single politician, every single bureaucrat. Yes. Doesn't matter the letter next to their name. We have to check everything. We have to communicate with each other. So if you learn from this or some other web show or something, get in touch with
share it everywhere. So
the chances are the legislator doesn't necessarily know. Like, they didn't know about Truitt's letter. They didn't know some of the shenanigans going on at the NCDPI. They might have the opinion that the NCDPI is a bit of a bureaucratic mess, but they don't realize at this point that it's actually doing overt harm. So yeah, get the stuff out there and talk. Don't assume that people know what's going on, even if they should know.
That's the biggest lesson we've learned. So we'll leave you with this. We need you to do this, and we need you to spread it to as many people as possible. But we have got to save the country. And to do that, it's going to be through the schools. We know that. We've got to save the children. Even if you don't have children, you've got to do this. So we need, number one, every elected official that you have or that write a letter to Truitt. Get them to copy you on it. Share that with us. We want to pat people on the back, but if you give them, there's no gray area. You do or don't. You do support parental rights. You do support free speech, right? You either do or don't, period. Every elected official. So if you've got 5 elected officials that you've written down, right, and only 3 have gotten back to you, make a note of the 2 that are not going to go on the record. Then we need those public officials to either way they want, Twitter, whatever, etc. This is wrong for any public official to try to silence parents and defame parents. I believe using her, in an effort to really help out the NCAE radical candidates. That's what they want to do.
Well, it reinforces the tyrannical boards that do exist. I mean, I'm not speaking every board member, but the board members who are more radical, the board members who are more tyrannical, radical and tyrannical, it empowers them to, again, not respond to parents with concerns. And
it gives them an out. And look at her behavior, blocking people from her page, not answering emails. She's not doing that with a lot of people. She's completely blocked up. So her behavior, it trickles down. Mm-hmm. This is a rogue agency with a lion's share of the state budget that thinks they're accountable to no one.
Yeah, well, not accountable.
Not going to work. Right. Not going to work. So we're going to leave you with this. Go to this page. Just set it up. Okay. You're going to see the letter, all the primary documentation you need, you're going to see it there.
Yeah, that's awesome, Sloan.
Well, thank you. It's not glamorous, but it exists.
You're on the back.
It exists. I did it. I almost had to do it on my glasses too. You guys, tonight I have a funny story. I put my glasses on a you know, when you buy like a 24 pack of water. Yeah. I put it on there because of course that's see-through. So I'm looking for my glasses for, you know, an hour, and I found them miraculously through the bottles. So all right. So guys, I want you to get to work. You need to get to work. Oh, and one more thing. If you are interested in volunteering, we need volunteers for the next 4 weeks, just 2 to 4 hours, just for the next 4 weeks. Okay. We need you badly. We're having just a 30-minute team Zoom, 1 p.m. If you can't make that, 7 p.m. tomorrow. Message us via Facebook. You know, you've got to sign up for our newsletter. Get on it, firstnc.org. We absolutely need volunteers. If you can do 2 hours to 4 hours, plus you're going to meet some really great people because we have a big team doing it, but we've got a big project we're working on. I mean, we're just trying to save the country, guys. I mean, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and if you look, I'm going to put the Jewish mom guilt on you. If you don't have 2 hours for your mother, no, I'm kidding. If you don't have 2 hours for your country during the holiday season, I don't want to judge.
Ask not what your country, ask what you can do for your country.
That's right. You can do 2 hours to help us. Would it kill you? No. No, it won't. All right, guys, have a great night. Remember, we got the action items. We need you to get to work. Bye.
Bye.